welcome to Chapter 5 of the Lemonade Wars called Competition. And we know that there has been this slow burn throughout the first 4 chapters of this rivalry between Evan and his sister Jessie based on a lot of different things. But really, the root of this is Evan, a 4th grader, and Jessie, a 3rd grader, are now going to be put into the same class because Jessie is skipping a grade. Jessie is academically very smart, whereas Evan struggles. Now, Evan socially is very smart. He has lots of friends, and he kind of knows how to read people really well, whereas Jessie doesn't. As a brother and sister, they obviously in the past got along very well, but now they don't because of this skip. And Jessie doesn't understand it. She's excited to be with Evan, whereas now Evan fears that now he's going to be outsmarted by his little sister and everybody's going to make fun of him. On top of that, the girl that he likes, Megan Moriarty, is the girl that Jessie has befriended to create her lemonade stand. So while we don't officially have a lemonade war, they are definitely at battle against each other. So as we head into Chapter 5, that battle is about to come to fruition. So here we go. Chapter 5. Competition. Now, for my students, please make sure you write setting at the top of your page and try to catch all of the settings. I want to tell you where to highlight, though, so don't worry. Competition. Rivalry in the marketplace. So 2 great vocabulary words. Competition, that competition between the 2 of them, and rivalry. So please highlight those and put a V above them. Dinner that night at the Treskys was quiet, so the explosion that followed seemed especially loud. That's hyperbole. Highlight night and quiet. Both settings, we have night, we have the time, and we have quiet, which is just the how everything is, okay? It was Jessie's turn to clear and scrape the dishes, Evan's turn to wash and stack. Evan looked at the pile of dirty plates on his left. Jessie was ahead. She was always ahead when it was her turn to clear, but tonight it felt like she was taunting him. To Evan, every plate scraping sounded like, "Can't keep up, can't keep up." Evan was scrubbing the casserole pan when Jessie stacked the last dirty dish by his elbow. Then she stuck her hands under the faucet to rinse without even saying, "Excuse me," and shook her hands practically right in Evan's face and said, "So how much money did you make?" That was it. He couldn't hold it in any longer. "Why'd you do it, huh? Why'd you have to ruin the one thing I had going?" For a second, Evan wasn't sure if he meant the lemonade stand or Megan Moriarty. In a mixed-up way, he meant both. And there was no way he was going to tell Jessie that after paying back his mother for the 4 cans of lemonade, 1 can of grape juice, and 1 bottle of ginger ale, she'd been pretty irritated when she came down from the office and there wasn't a single cold drink in the house, he had walked away with $2.11. On top of that, he was pretty sure Scott had kept the $5 bill they'd earned. Well, what was Evan supposed to do? Ask Scott to turn his pockets inside out? Even Evan hadn't kept track of the sales, so he couldn't be sure. So again, we got a character trait there for Scott Spencer, who obviously, we've said right from the start, seems to be this pretty bad dude. And Scott is giving Evan all of these doubts. "Why'd I do it? Why'd you do it? Why'd you invite that jerk over for a lemonade stand?" shouted Jessie. "And how come you wouldn't let me play? You're the one who was mean." "You're such a show-off," said Evan. "You always have to let everyone know that you're the smart one." Does she? Now think about it. Does she? Maybe it's on purpose, maybe it's not, but does she do things to show how smart she is? "I wasn't showing off. I was just trying to have a little fun. Is that against the law? You won't do a lemonade stand. Then I will do a lemonade stand with you. I'll do one with my friend Megan instead." "You cannot be her friend. You cannot be her friend," shouted Evan. "Why not?" "Because you're a little kid. You don't even belong in the 4th grade. And because you're just an annoying, show-off pest and no one likes you." So remember, Jessie is moving up to another grade. All of these friends are Evan's friends. And honestly, like, she made a friend with Megan. So that's a great thing for her going to 4th grade. But again, look how Evan might perceive that with his friends. The words felt like disgusting spiders running out of his mouth. Simile. They were horrible, but it felt so good to get rid of them. Then Evan saw Jessie's lip tremble. Uh-oh. Jessie was a howler. She didn't cry often, and she didn't cry long, but when she did, it was loud. Mom would come down from her office. Evan would catch the blame. Unfair. But Jessie didn't let loose. Instead, she stood as tall as her runty height would allow and said, Megan likes me. She invited me over to her house tomorrow. We're going to make another lemonade stand and earn twice what we did today. Oh, that was it. She was going to ruin everything. Show him up right in front of Megan, even before the school year started? Make Megan think he was just some stupid loser who couldn't even beat out his baby sister at a lemonade stand? Evan boiled over. How would you feel? How would you feel if your baby brother, your baby sister was coming to your grade and stealing one of your best friends, maybe a girl who you have a little crush on, or maybe a boy who you have a little crush on? Like, how would that make you feel? And again, sometimes right and wrong is complicated, right? So think about it. What's right about it? What's wrong about it? And how could this be fixed? I wouldn't count on it, Juicy, he said. Jessie hated that nickname, and Evan only used it when he had to. I'm going to have a lemonade stand every day until school starts, and I'm going to earn $100 by the end of summer, enough for an iPod. Oh, please. Like you could if you wanted to, said Jessie. Megan and I already made $12 each today. We could have $100 like that. Jessie snapped her fingers. And then what, said Evan. You'd lock it up in your lockbox and save it till you were 50 years old. You're the biggest miser on the planet. Highlight miser, put a V above that. It's a good vocabulary word. Use context there. What does miser mean? Jessie stiffened up. Her mouth made a funny O. But then she put her hand on her hip and smirked at Evan. For your information, I'm going to make $100 donation to charity. Smirked. Everyone make a smirk right now. It's a good vocabulary word, right? It's better than saying smile. It's a little different, right? When you're smirking, you are kind of showing someone up. So she's smirking at Evan. And a donation to charity. She's not going to keep it for herself and her iPod. I'm better than you. I'm going to give it to charity. Evan snorted. Yeah, right. What charity? There was a long pause, and then Jessie said, as smooth as whipped cream, the Animal Rescue League. Megan and I talked about it today. You don't even like animals, said Evan. Everybody likes animals, shouted Jessie, and I'm going to give him $100, so you can't ever call me a miser again. I hope I never talk to you again, shouted Evan. Hey! A sharp voice called from the stairs. Mrs. Tresky had a pencil stuck in her hair and a worried look on her face. I could hear you two all the way in the attic, with the air conditioner on high. What's up? Evan looked at Jessie. Jessie looked at Evan. They had taken a vow, a spit vow. Highlight vow. Great vocabulary word. Ever since Dad had gone, they had vowed not to fight in front of Mom. It made her sad, sadder even than when Dad left. Ever since Dad had gone, they had vowed not to fight in front of Mom. It made her sad, sadder even than when Dad left. Nothing, said Evan. Nothing, said Jessie. So even though they're not getting along, they're still trying to take care of their mom. Now again, think character traits here. Think character traits all the way through this. Are we seeing the real Evan and the real Jessie through this? Or are they just, is their pride hurt? And I do want to talk here about three things: win-win, win-lose, and lose-lose. So they're in this battle, in this lemonade war, and we still don't know the definition of it yet, although we're about to get it. But think of this scenario they're creating for themselves. And creating a situation where one of them wants to have more than the other, which is immediately a win-lose situation. Win-lose situations are situations we go through in life all the time. When you play sports, any sort of competition, some people win and some people lose. But in a best case situation, there's always win-win scenarios, right? So both sides can win. And when you don't have to have a competition, this is probably the best bet for any sibling relationship where both siblings can win. So right now they are building this win-lose situation. And a lot of times in a win-lose situation, they don't end up very well because there's a winner and there's a loser. And there doesn't have to be. So I'm probably going to drop a video in this book just showing you the difference between a win-win, a win-lose, and a lose-lose, because sometimes a win-lose can turn into a lose-lose where everybody loses, okay? And it's really this conflict that I want you to really be focusing on throughout this book. How does the win-lose shift? And can they ever get to a win-win? Or do they ever get to a lose-lose?
Zero-sum games are basically situations in which if one person gains, the other participant or participants lose. Some people refer to them as win-lose or lose-win situations. Let's assume Mike and Peter bet on the outcome of a tennis match. There's no such thing as a draw in tennis, so someone has to win, and therefore, tennis itself is a zero-sum game. The bet between Mike and Peter is, you've guessed it, a zero-sum situation as well. If Mike wins, Peter loses, or if Peter wins, Mike loses. In the world of economics, a lot of derivatives can be considered zero-sum. Win-win situations, however, as the name suggests, are the exact opposite of zero-sum games. In other words, your gain doesn't necessarily generate losses for the other participants. For example, economic trade is a win-win situation. Let's assume Matt sells pineapples to his local customers in Canada and buys them from Ben, who lives in the Philippines. Both parties are happy because, let's face it, growing pineapples in Canada would be quite a challenge. So Matt can get a better deal by buying from a country where they are plentiful. The same way, Ben is grateful that he can sell abroad for more than what he'd obtain locally. All in all, even after factoring in the transaction costs such as shipping, economic trade is a win-win situation. Finally, it should be obvious what lose-lose situations such as wars are, and as can be seen, we've covered the entire spectrum, from lose-lose to zero-sum to win-win.
Mrs. Tresky looked at the two of them. Come on, out with it. What are you two yelling about? It wasn't a fight, Mom, said Evan. We were just joking around. Yeah, said Jessie. We were goofing. Sorry we got you out of your office. Mrs. Tresky looked at both of them with her laser eyes. Hyperbole. Jessie hung the dish towel over the oven handle and fiddled with it until it was perfectly straight. Evan bent over the casserole pan and scrubbed as if his life depended on it. Hyperbole. He scrubbed so hard his elbow bumped the fruit bowl. A cloud of fruit flies rose into the air and then settled back down. Oh, God, said Mrs. Tresky, would you look at those fruit flies? Her shoulders slumped. All right, well, I'm going back up. Can you guys handle showers and reading, and then I'll be down to tuck and turn off the lights? Sure, Mom, said Jessie. No problem, said Evan. Mrs. Tresky disappeared upstairs. Jessie turned to Evan at the sink. Let's make a bet, she said. Whoever earns $100 wins, and the loser has to give all their earnings to the winner. Uh-oh. Evan shook his head. Not fair, he said. You've already got money saved up. That money doesn't count, said Jessie. We'll start with today's earnings, and it's all got to be from selling lemonade. No mowing lawns, or sweeping out the garage, or anything else. What if neither one of us make 100, said Evan, not liking the sound of this deal. Then whoever makes the closest to 100 wins, and even if we both make over 100, whoever makes the most money wins the bet. When do we count up the money? Asked Evan. Jessie thought about that. Sunday night, right before the fireworks. She looked straight at Evan. Huh? What do you say? It's ironic. They're going to see who wins right before the fireworks. Sounds like they're going to be making their own fireworks. Evan didn't like bets. he really wasn't that into competition. He loved to play basketball and always gave it his all. But winning or losing, it didn't make much difference to him. He just liked to play. So you can see, like, Evan in his life likes, like, win-wins. He doesn't like competition. He just likes to have fun. So here he is. He's put in a spot where he has to be in a win-lose. Can he back down from his sister, who he says always tries to outsmart him? But this was different. This mattered. If he didn't beat Jesse at this bet, if he couldn't win against his little sister in a lemonade war, then Evan thought of the school year stretching out in front of him. It was all over. He might as well just give up on everything right now. It's a bet. $100 by Sunday night. Winner takes all. He shook his wet hands over the sink, dried them on the dish towel, and gave Jesse his most menacing look. You better pray for mercy. Menacing. Highlight that, put a V next to it, and mercy. Highlight that and put a V next to it. Menacing. You know, if you make a menace, that's more like a pained face, but a menacing face. Like he's trying to look mean and intimidating. And pray for mercy. And mercy, of course, is you better pray that I take mercy on you and say it's okay. Two great vocabulary words to end the chapter. So, prediction. This Lemonade War is now official. We clearly are going to have a win-lose, or at least that's what it's set up for now. So what's your prediction? How is Evan and Jesse, how are they going to resolve this? Is it going to be with one of them winning? Are they going to figure out a way to make it a win-win? Or are they going to both lose? We're already catching them in little lies here and there, and they're lying to their mom. Again, this Lemonade War is already bringing out some bad traits in both of them. And at the end of the day, what Evan is upset about is his sister joining 4th grade. And he hasn't really explained that to her. And you know Jesse has a hard time understanding. All right, so great job. Lots of similes in there, a couple of hyperboles, some great vocabulary words. Make sure you've gone through your book and highlighted those so that we can move on to chapter 6 tomorrow, underselling. Underselling. Also, your setting. We know that they were in the kitchen. We know that it was at night right before bed because they were going to get tucked in. Mom was going to turn out the lights. Character traits for mom. She's working, a single parent. So think about some character traits for mom and see if you can find them in your book and write down the page number for me, okay? Excellent job today. On to underselling. And for those of you that join me for any of the books that I have here, please make sure that you click the subscribe button, hit that bell, and leave some comments. I enjoy replying to them and recommendations for books. My kids love to read in my classroom, and obviously adults, teachers, anybody who comes and enjoys the books. It's what I love to do. I love to read. I love to talk about these books. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you for chapter 6, The Lemonade War.